Bong bong. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back. You know what I'm saying? It's
Uh,
for real with the host with the most. Akeem Raheem, the aerosol dream. You know what I'm saying? And this R&B is dead. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna check in real quick. It's been a minute. How you doing, my guy?
Man, I'm good. Same over here, man. I'm painting
Yeah,
my life away. It's paint, 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 and handling all that.
that's dope. That's
And
dope.
I just got back from Detroit.
Hey, yeah, I saw you on the gram. I seen you on the gram taking
Yeah,
pictures with Gma and all of that.
my grandma's birthday, and so I mean, it's been good. I got back into the groove over here,
Yeah.
and what's good with you?
Real quick though, just because it's funny you say that, and I just feel like the D is always just on the low bubbling, and that's not to diss or nothing like that. I just feel like they always quietly bubbling, and I'm always amidst all the news. I feel like I'm always hearing chatter like, nah, the D got some shit right now, whether it's music, culture, art, food, something. You know what I mean? So how what was it real quick? Like what was the scene like out there?
Uh, yeah, you're right. It's like a Detroit is like a comeback tale. You know what I mean? Because Detroit, when all the automakers left and what I mean whatnot, the
Yeah.
city became like you know a wasteland kind of. You know what I mean? And it was a struggle. You know what I mean? A lot of big companies left, and so it was kind of like it was a pretty desolate place, and people, you know what I mean, crime rose, and people, started talking about how rough Detroit was. But Detroit is coming back. Detroit has like a lot of, like you said, like kind of homemade
Mhm.
uh, uh, culture, food, art, um, and a lot of corporate interests moved back. You know what I mean? Because it's such a dope location.
Yeah.
Um, And what I mean, Detroit is good. You know what I mean? I mean, we
Yeah. Word.
went downtown and did some eating and all that. You know what I mean? It's a it's definitely better than it was in the like '90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We used to go. I mean, we go back every summer usually, and every once in a while I've been there during Christmas time. But like,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, like I don't know if you remember, but they shot RoboCop in
Hmm.
Detroit.
Yep.
And it was supposed to be like this like post-apocalyptic world where like everything had crushed, and it was a perfect scenery at that time
Hmm.
because in
Yep.
the 80s and the 90s, the crack epidemic was happening, and we had so many big companies left Detroit. It was like
Yeah. Yeah.
it was one of the only places I ever seen a skyscraper with all the windows busted out,
Wow. Yeah.
like wind just blowing through.
Yeah.
And like you never see nothing like that.
Nah.
And RoboCop, it fit. You know what I mean? They was out there making it look like Mad Max.
Yeah.
But Detroit don't look like that as
Yep.
much anymore.
Yep. 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 And really, that's why I wanted to real quick just take the time to ask that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
like that's the case, and it deserves that too. You know what I mean? As much as it got the other narrative, which we understand and we know, I'm sure the D is still working through some things, like all of our communities are. But like you said, I just
yeah,
wanted to highlight that again. Like it's a lot of dope, just artists, chefs. For those that know me, I stay on my shout out Clio TV and my little Food Network grind. You know what I mean? I love the cuisines. You know what I mean? So I hear
yeah.
popping on that end too. So no, that's just a beautiful thing to hear. And yeah, yeah. I know the D stay cooking up. So yeah, my brother. Since you back in effect, what what's going on with the music? As far as I wanted to definitely ask you that because that's something I'm itching to get to. We can
Mm.
warm up and do the pleasantries, which I don't mind. But really, I'm itching to know what you feeling on the music scene, especially for our fans that again are loving R&B and that have gone through this. I'll call it R&B, if not Renaissance revival with us. You know what I mean? Like, what are you listening to right now?
Uh,
New R&B stuff because there's some artists right now that are coming with it, some real heat.
yeah. I mean, there's it's almost not even worth me mentioning because
Yeah.
everybody's already on the little tidbits that we're getting.
Word.
Like artists like her.
Yeah, yes.
Artists like Daniel Caesar.
Joe. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, Daniel Caesar is cooking up some hotness, and I know that there's a few other folks out there making noise with some R&B. I mean, I haven't really been listening to a lot of new stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of.
Yo, okay, me too. So I'm kind of in the same boat, but like, really, it's everything you just said. Like, a lot of the stuff we're catching, like you said, is the stuff everybody's on right now. So, it's always good to find those little nugs or just some pleasant surprises. But I will say the one you hit on that I'm definitely waiting for, because the way he impacted last time, I'm waiting to see what Daniel Caesar got this time around too. Because he came hard that last time, like he came in real hard with the stuff he had, and I feel like as a real traditional R&B artist, I feel like he's taking that necessary time to soak up and really, really brew some hotness. You know what I mean? So I'm ready to see what he's cooking. But yo, B, I don't let me know where you at. I recently got put on, my boy put me on, and I gotta say I enjoyed it. It smacked in the old vein of some old maybe this was the artist, some old Sade, but I think there's another artist I'm thinking of, but pause. Did you peep that Snow Allegra?
No, what's that?
At the moment, I cannot remember the title of it. Just dropped. I think she's from LA. I'm very late, so for those that's up on it, forgive me, but I appreciate the time I came in, because the album she had, smacking. No disrespect, I don't want to take time to look it up, but it's that good. I almost want to look it up, but yo, Pete, just dig through. But the vibes, crazy. That's where I was like, okay, I see what you're doing there. You know what I mean? It's just, like I know you can't beat a well put together project. You know what I mean? Not every well put together project is a classic necessarily. You know what I mean? But we can all appreciate a well executed project. That's what I'll say. That project was executed well. Just the sonics, the vibe, the mix, and then just the way the vocals was coming across real classic, like it was real Sade moody. You know what I mean? Like you had the incense burning, you know what I'm saying? The room had to be dimly lit, you know what I mean? Or you had to be in the whip with it. But like it was a real low vibe. You had to be at the Art and Wine Festival on that joint. You know what I mean? It was,
and who was it?
Snow Allegra.
Snow Allegra. Okay.
It's SNOH and then Allegra. So pause and forgive me. I know it's a lot of other joints out there popping. That's just the one project that kind of caught me by surprise, where I was like, whoa, okay. Like, okay, I didn't expect that. I'm not up on her like that. But like you said, the hers and so on, which I'm very mad. Everything is selling out right now since everything is trying to open up. Could not get to her festival. She had a show recently, I think in LA, in LA, with a symphony behind her. Everything just can't get to B. She's doing big things, but I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up with her real quick.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who tried to do that was Nicole Buss. If you know anything about Nicole Buss, she did like a lot of songs that on like hip hop kind of beats, R&B songs on hip hop kind of beats, and she was trying to like kind of capture that Lauryn Hill vibe.
I like that.
And my only complaint with her thing, and I mean, hey, Nicole, if you can hear me, the songs ain't really about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm getting I got a very, like you know what I mean? Like okay, so like with rap and hip hop, there's a lot of artists who had careers based on, not much substance. You know what I mean? Like basically flow, cadence, voice, you know what I mean? People like Busta Rhymes. People like Busta Rhymes, have a whole bunch of songs that are really not about anything. You know what I mean? They don't have a central theme where you're like, yeah, this song is like slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of, party. Most of his songs are kind of about braggadocio rap, shake it up in the club, pop bottles, you do, what I mean? Like and they don't have a clear direction to them.
More like lifestyle bars. And not like, what I mean, but just like life and culture, like just bars, what's going on and stuff, just kind of yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah. I'm thinking like there's a lot of artists like that. Redman was kind of one of them. Ludacris is got a lot of lifestyle type bars, you know what I mean? Just braggadocio swag rap, you know what I mean? That didn't really have like, you know what I mean? It was like clear direction.
But it was like bar work, just a lot of cats with bars per se, but they knew how to give it.
Yeah. Lil Wayne is one of them.
Yeah, like cats really on the hip hop, like I'm giving you bars. Versus
and right around the Carter, the Carter series, Wayne was trying to go in that motivational thug music, like Jeezy or Rick Ross. You know what I mean? Like just enough substance where you're kind of talking about the grind and talking about your come up and how you doing. You know what I mean? And how you're making something out of nothing. And Jeezy and Rick Ross are in that lane. They got that kind of like, you know what I mean, hustlers music. You know what I mean? And Wayne was trying to do that for a minute, but then he just started barsing.
Yeah, especially once Young Money popped, I feel like it went right back.
Once you got No Ceilings Wayne and that whole thing and what was the other mixtape series?
You just had Infinite Bars Wayne.
It was just it was
the dedication.
Dedication. He was stepping out of hustler music and right into just barsy. And there's a lot of artists like that, and you can, these are people I'm a fan of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes to R&B music, there needs to be some substance that goes under all the, you know what I mean? Like
that's funny you say that. Yeah.
And there are cheat codes, right? There are cheat codes to the game. The easiest way to write an R&B song is to write it about someone you love or you care about. Or even like the details of courtship or whatever, you know what I mean? I.e. Jill Scott, Long Walk. You know what I mean? You want to take a long walk with a person, and that's the focus of the song, rather than, you know what I mean, trying to fit in a lot of clashing themes or you know what I mean, just kind of trying to harmonize it out and style it out.
It don't work. Don't work the same.
It doesn't work the same, and
that's hella funny.
And the best type of R&B you can get isn't really romantic R&B. It's more like
the heartbreak joints.
Well, that's hard. That's relationships too, right? Heartbreaks. You know what I mean? Those are dope. Those are dope. But the best ones you can get are like the Earth, Wind and Fire, Frankie Beverly Maze type of I want to call them inspirational, like songs that are Stevie Wonder songs. You know what I mean? Songs that are about like you living life and making it. You know what I mean? Like
almost the reverse of lifestyle, like say bars, say with if anything to flip, but like in a way where you're totally right. It works for R&B. You're like, this is substance. This is almost, I feel like, where I can almost kind of understand how folks like country music. Because a lot of that sounds like that type of stuff where it's just like life and like, this is what I'm going through. You're like, it ain't just like you said, just romance and you like, this is about some life shit. To said, again, that Frankie Beverly friendship or Before I Let You Go, like that's a real transaction of emotion and
even a crossover hit from the urban audience to the white folks audience, which was kind of a spin-off country song. Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. The song the song was really focused on how he had a fast car and she's betting all of her hopes and dreams on how they're going to get out of town and get out of their situation and, you know what I mean, change their lives. And, all of those hopes were based on this car he had.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really about the car. It was, you know what I mean? It was about escapism. It was about getting out of, changing your situation. And, those type of songs aren't really like, ooh, baby, I love you. You know what I mean? Those songs are a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
But you could even get away with, ooh, baby, I love you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But this particular young lady, Nicole Buss,
Mm-hmm.
she's got incredible ear for beats. And she's got a nice kind of like almost baritone for a woman, you know what I mean? Like she's got a low octave, kind of like an Anita Baker type.
Yeah, thank you. Perfect. Yeah.
She's got like a jazz sultry voice, but her songs aren't about anything. And it's just like it's hard for me to get replay out of them. You know what I mean? I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is kind of jamming. And then like you listen to the song again, and you're just like, I can't really sing along because I can't really identify.
Yeah, thank you. And that's totally real, and that's hella funny you mentioned that because I don't remember what artist I was listening to specifically, but it was just something about it that hit me. And I kind of realized everything you're saying, like, damn, like, and not to knock anybody or where it's at or be all, you know what I mean? But it just is one of those things, just an observation, right? And it's kind of, I'll say our truth of the matter, right? But just to your point where you realize the value has changed. I won't say it's gone down, but I realize I'm listening to it differently now. Versus, like you said, not to be old head, every example you gave to jump back to even a Marvin Gaye, I'm just making that to make the easy point of you listen to that differently. Whereas, like you said, the impact, the substance, versus now I realize I'm listening to shit like an MC. Like, yeah, you bars. Whereas it's what you're saying though, where it's like that's totally different than what I should be. I won't say should be getting what I necessarily was hoping to get from certain songs. And I feel like it just changes the play value. And no knock, I love Bryson Tiller. But I realize I'm listening to this R&B like a rap joint, like, oh yeah, bars. You know what I mean? I'm vibing totally different than like, it's not mad at it, but I just realized, oh wow, shit, Jhené Aiko. She has shit on her shit though that I'm digging, and it gets deeper. But she knows how to play up for say the features and hip hop shit and give you the barsy shit where you're like, oh wow, that was really just you just sung bars to me, like, you know what I mean? Like that was dope, but yeah, not really the same I guess. I don't know if I'm ruining your point or muddying it up, but I just felt like I kind of saw what you were saying. And I feel like for me, it kind of jumps back all the way to where done dope because it was kind of that first intro, Trey Songz, when he had that mixtape series where he was just going to the different, like say Beyonce cuts and stuff, but like barring it up where you're like, what? Trey Songz?
Yeah. And you know what? Okay, so we know so what you just admitted as a listener, right?
Yeah.
Of what you're kind of listening for is definitely directly connected to what the market has been pushing. You feel me?
And I think that's what I'm trying to connect to what you're saying. Like I feel you.
Like hip hop and R&B kind of merged first during the New Jack Swing era, right?
Yep. Knowledge to the knowledge.
But it merged again in a weird way, like because New Jack Swing only lasted a short time. It was the early 90s, basically, late 80s, early 90s. And by the time you had the big people doing New Jack Swing, like the Dangerous album with Michael Jackson and Babyface, No Crime. That was a straight up New Jack Swing song. And he was like Ray Barzy on that song. But R&B split again. And then you had like Dru Hill, Jagged Edge, and you know what I mean? All of these folks who were kind of inspired by hip hop-esque R&B groups like Jodeci, right? But it was very R&B. It wasn't, they weren't crossing the lanes. And only thing you really got was the rap verse on an R&B song. And you know what I mean? They bring in a real rapper to do it. They wouldn't do it themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how Fabulous got on, right? Because Fabulous was on every Lil Mo song.
Shout out
as the rapper, right? And the only people who were crossing the lines between rap, hip hop, and R&B in a weird, way different way was Timbaland and Missy.
Pause. Yeah. Shout out Wyclef one time. Go ahead.
Wyclef as well, and
I know that's totally left. Like,
yeah, and the Neptunes, right?
Oh God, yeah. But that's
But they were kind of they were so original. They weren't creating a genre.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It wasn't like they didn't have a whole lot of babies because their babies wouldn't have known how to be like them. They're like, Wayne has a lot of babies, right? Wayne has a lot of kids, like a lot of artists who want to be like Lil Wayne. And it's not that hard to do. You know what I mean? Like, because once you had leaned out, heroined out, falling asleep on the mic, auto-tune Wayne, that basically became Young Thug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he wasn't really known for bars anymore. And so you could be with Lil Wayne now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You couldn't really be No Ceilings Lil Wayne. But you could be Wayne after that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, they didn't have enough, they didn't really create a lot of sonic children. You know what I mean? And so it makes it seem like their impact wasn't as great as it was, but it was, right?
Yeah.
When do you get R&B and hip hop merging again, like in a kind of a major way, is when Late Registration came out and Kanye kind of basically started merging hip hop with not only R&B but also soul music, and all of the crate digging wasn't like samples no more. It was like being played out. It was like instrumentation.
Yeah.
But without Ye and without 808s and Heartbreak, you don't get the OVO sound. You don't get Drake.
Yep.
And so once you get Drake, now you got a person who's not real. He's a both. He's a hip hop crooner. He's a R&B. You know what I mean? He's got bars. He can rap.
But the croon game, he opened a whole nother can. And
but he's also Keith Sweat, right?
Thank you, stupid.
He said it himself. He said, "I'm the light skinned Keith Sweat."
No, you're totally right. And for the listeners that knew, though, we knew like, oh, he didn't open Pandora's light skin box.
He has opened the box, and he gave birth to the OVO sound, which then gave birth to The Weeknd.
I'm sorry. I'm also gonna call, and I'm not knocking her. You know what I mean? I'm about to say Gambino. I feel like it made it made the door open it made it easier for a lot of cats to come out.
Yeah. And Childish Gambino was trying to do it very underground and very independent. His mixtape stuff, his like you know what I mean, like early stuff was just like, he was like bars in like Lupe and Wayne. Like he was trying to rap. Like, I'm not a rapper, that mixtape.
Yeah.
And then he started getting artsy. And then he got more shine because he was a movie star, or he was on TV or whatever.
Yeah.
So people started paying attention to his because he was already a comedian, right? Donald Glover was already a comedian. Then he was like, oh, he's also Childish Gambino. What? And they started respecting that work. So he dropped the cul-de-sac and all that stuff, where he's now being like a Marvin Gaye kind of person. You know what I mean? Singing songs about how the world needs to change, and you know what I mean? That's not Childish Gambino, the rapper. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I feel him. You know what I mean? I think we should all have space to grow and do different stuff. I mean, we don't want
a problem.
Yeah, I mean, Kanye showed us that you can come with a whole new sound each album.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And you don't have to pigeonhole yourself and be this particular kind of same thing you was on your first album.
Yeah. Especially if you do the shit well. And that's not to, again, pigeonhole, like you said, but like a lot of the cats, when they saw they could lean into it, cats was really coming out with some shit, and you're like,
Yeah,
ooh,
yeah.
okay, okay.
So now here we are, right? We got like the OVO sound is a genre. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know what else to call it, but
Mhm.
the 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 808s and Heartbreak, Weekend, uh, OVO, Melancholy, like
Mhm.
not sad because my girl left, but like
Yeah,
reminiscing on a chick I used to fuck with, and
yeah,
like
yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like man, I bet she did. I
Smooth.
bet she's happy somewhere,
Yeah.
but I ain't. You know what I mean? Like those type of like that that became a lane.
Yeah,
It became a lane, and you know all the way back to Daniel Caesar. Now we got people. Daniel Caesar is a weekend baby.
yeah. I
You
can
know what I mean?
see that.
And the weekend was. I mean, he broke off and did his own thing, but he's an OVO artist.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And he got his whole sound from
mhm,
that camp,
yeah,
from Noah Shabib and them,
yeah. Thank you.
and so I mean, now that we have back to your point, now that we have such a merge between hip hop and R&B, and people like Beyonce are damn near rapping.
And
I
barring,
mean,
uh,
like even back to Destiny's Child stuff,
yeah,
like Bills, and
already pinning shit. Thank you.
yeah,
Already pinning shit.
she was lightweight, bouncing on the beat like a rapper.
Already, yeah. But confined to R&B rules and format. So it's funny you say that.
Yeah, and and like you said, Trey Songs plus then you
Chris
got Wayne, Chris Brown, yes, and then you got Wayne doing How to Love, and like trying to be like Drake because Drake took the reins, right?
Yeah.
So now
Shout out, honorable mention to Ja Rule one time. Keep it going.
honorable mention to Ja Rule because Ja Rule was doing his own thug out singing, right?
The passion, yeah. Thank you.
And when you had this intersection now that's like it's almost like
Mm-hmm. Most
unbreakable.
apart.
Now,
Can't
now,
separate it.
now you got Bryson Tiller and you got Tory Lanez and all the Drake babies.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
It's like you finally now got the technology, quote unquote, to make it work. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and so not only does that change the music, but it changes the listener, right? So now you're listening for bars
Yep.
on an R&B song,
Thank you. Changes the whole experience. Yeah. Yeah.
and I understand. I think that Frankie Beverly and them, like if you think about Joy and Pain or like Sunshine and Rain,
Mhm.
that's a bar. The,
Bar. Yep.
uh,
Early.
and he says, okay, the ones that you care for bring you so much pain. Oh, but it's wonderful because they're both one and the same.
Mm.
Bar.
Bar work. Yeah. Yeah.
He's bars in, but he's that it's a different kind of bar because there's no hip hop involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, we're gonna listen to for clever wordplay. Yeah, we're gonna listen to cadence. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And so now a person like Chris Brown or a person like Beyonce, they got their lane now
Mhm. Mhm.
where Beyonce is not Whitney Houston. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I
Pause.
mean, and she can do ballads, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
But we know she's not as a powerful singer
Yeah.
as her predecessors, as a Mariah Carey or somebody like that. She's more of a rapper than they are.
Pause. Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's just keeping it. She's just keeping the R&B rules.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
songs with Jigga.
Pause. And at this point, you might have to say outbarring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
problematic. But it's funny you say that because, like you said, over the past, you jump back in history, it's happened, but it could never stick. And that's where I think, like you said, the culture didn't have the right pieces to hold it together to where now it just seems like it's too much cemented to where, like you said, the Drake coming into play, the Kanye coming before it was like the perfect conductors where you're like, oh shit, yeah, we can't get away from this. Because think, you had Tina Marie dropping bars. I think there was even, I can't tell you what cut, but I could be wrong. But I want to say, isn't there one where you had Madonna dropping bars a time or two where you're like, okay, this, when it was definitely more on the bad tip, where you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, everybody, like you said, the big ones are now getting a piece of this. but it's
Yeah,
like,
I remember Tim Murray dropping the bars on Square Biz.
so
And
not. Thank you.
and but we also we left out a legend. Shout out to Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill
Yeah.
you know, she crossed the line in the late '90s. She was an R&B
Yeah.
rapper.
When you know what to do with that, when you're like, so you just do everything.
Yeah, like it was a different. It wasn't like you couldn't really compare her directly to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
And shout out to Mary J. Blige, because Mary J. Blige took the direction from Puff, and she was basically a rapper. You know what I mean? I mean, she was. What's the 411 as a rap song?
Yeah, all day. I'll give that the lane that gave us Erykah Badu. I think what's the 411, like you said, that lane with the with Mary J. Blige being the real R&B singer, given that, I think that background led to us getting shit like Love of My Life. You know what I'm saying? Erykah Badu. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Erykah Badu admits herself that she doesn't exist without Chaka Khan.
Thank you.
And I agree with that 100%, because
can't skip that. Excuse me. Yeah.
Because it was the exact recipe. Like
that I feel for you joint. Speaking of New Jack's, what would you call it? Because I feel like that had a New Jack swing vibe, but it was kind of different. Like, what would you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so like
just jumping back and kind of sticking to where you was at. Because I really love when we dig into New Jack swing.
Yeah,
this is a crazy anomaly to where, like you said, now it's melded into this thing that's unremovable. To where, like you said before, that shit wasn't really sticking like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And real quick, shout out to everybody that's rocking with us. Real quick, you know what it is? R&B is dead. But yeah. So what do you think that was, Rashid? Like, what do you call it?
Well, there was a surge of technology in the '80s that made a lot of songs sound very rappy,
right?
And more digital than, like, you know, a band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you had songs like Herbie Hancock "Rocket."
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, like ding, 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 and it was just like, this sounds like a rap song, but there's nobody rapping on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people started getting into vocal effects and all of this like dance music that was like not New Jack Swing yet. You know what I mean? Like Kano, I'm Ready.
Yeah. Like that precursor, it feels like a predecessor.
Yeah. Africa Bambaataa, and the Soul Sonic Force, you know, Planet Rock, all of those type of songs.
Shout out Full Force one time.
Force, yeah, but Full Force was definitely a New Jack Swing.
Yeah, thank you, and that's really.
And there was an R&B group before that.
Thank you. Yeah,
but you know, like Michael Jackson throwing in a lot of like harder rap type sounds. Like if you listen to Michael Jackson's "Keep It in the Closet," that song sounds very hip hop, beat wise. You know what I mean? Yeah. But way earlier we had Chaka Khan, and Chaka Khan was embracing hip hop, so she made a song that, you know, had a hip hop beat and then threw Melly Mel on there. You know what I mean? And she even threw him in a way. She threw him in a way where it wasn't like, you know how like the adult contemporary station in your city, wherever you live, used to cut out the rap verse on your favorite R&B song.
Yes.
Because they was like, nope, we're not playing no rap. You know what I mean? And you would they would play Total, Can't You See? And then the whole Biggie part is just an instrumental.
Gone.
Or you know what I mean? Or like they would do that all the time because they felt like they weren't a hip hop station.
Yeah, that wasn't them.
And it was not their genre.
Wow.
And along with Maxine Waters and all them in the '90s, they was actually hating on it. Like, man, this is not hip. Where hip hop is going. Yeah, is not, you know, it's not a solid direction for us to go culturally.
Yeah.
And I agree with that, but they would cut out the rap part.
No,
because you could do that.
yeah,
Shaka Khan had this dude laced into the song in a way where you couldn't cut him out.
take him out. Could not take him out.
Yeah, I mean they'd start the song like Shaka Khan, Shaka 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 Khan, Shaka Khan, and you couldn't cut that part out.
Nah,
it was the beginning of the damn song.
Yeah, no, even to your point, it had you like, why the hell they get to have this rap song on there? You know what I mean? Or why they get to have this joint with the verse on it versus the other shit that they cut out and whatever. And then like, that's why it's intertwined and you can't cut it out.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like some of the OGs like Stevie Wonder and Chaka Khan and like you said, Tina Marie and some other folks, they jumped on the wave of hip hop when hip hop was still very fluid and positive and danceable. You know what I mean? And
had a message.
It was they all had the people had little messages with their hip hop, and it wasn't like this derogatory thing.
Yeah,
that you know what I mean. But I feel like when gangsta rap came out, that was really 1989. But when everybody went gangsta was 93. 93 was when even LL Cool J said he got to knock you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things were just going straight to the left. It was you had to be hardcore. MC Light wanted a roughneck. You know what I mean? And there was
Hammer had pumps and the bumps.
Yeah, there was and there was this G-funk sound that was infused, and you had so much negativity that the R&B stations had more juice to like cut out anything related to hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that because I wanted to. Oh, word. So I was pause. We always do the check-in, and shout out to our folks that stay with the show. We always do the versus check-in. I was gonna ask you about the Lox's Dipset, and I think I wanted to laugh though, but my connection was hella funny because really the language that like Styles P and those you heard using to kind of like calm, you know what I'm saying, calm the crowd for feeling suspicion or feeling uneasy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I laugh because I feel like that's language we're familiar with because we're from the shootout era. I feel like everything you're saying is we're around that time where hip hop shows were almost banned just because every big Coliseum show or whatever tour, pap, and you see some shit on the news and they're like, it's going down again, and folks running out the stadium. And I feel like, I don't know if you remember, but I know my parents been like, oh, these fools shooting up the show again. Well, then, so I feel like it was that time though, like you say, 93, so on, where you're like, okay, word, this hip hop thing could be a quote unquote problem as far as in the media and so on, and as far as what we're being fed. So I just think it's just funny. It was that time. And the fact that you said that kind of brought me full circle in my mind. Cause I was, again, gonna ask you about the Lox Dipset, but moving on back to what you're saying, my bad.
No, I mean, that's a perfect transition. I feel like there are even, and this is something that's very pro-black about me, I guess, or whatever, but I recognize that Black folks have a lot of talent.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of swag. We make everything cool. Like you could go from making like 5 times too big jeans cool to making skinny jeans cool. Like you could go from the Temptations, you know what I mean? You can go from the conch, straight to the afro. Word. You know what I mean? And all of it looks so cool, no matter what we do.
Yeah.
And when people talk about the urban market, they're really talking about a market led by Black folks.
Not to call it Black market, but yeah.
And I feel like one of the main proofs of that is gangsta rap, because we made something so terrible sound fantastic. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
Like, because I agree that our music is kind of being used against us at this point.
Yeah.
And because I agree with the older folks who I didn't understand during the 90s. But in hindsight, I agree with their point.
Yeah.
I still am a hip hop fan, and I'm still such a huge fan of stuff that isn't appropriate.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, and you know, I was a fan of Dipset. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I was also a fan of Bad Boy Records. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, I say it all the time. People are not gonna let this man Diddy be great. They're not gonna give him his flowers until he's dead for some reason. They're like people don't talk about Diddy the way that they should.
I agree. I agree. And I think to your point, I think the Press Play album was a big example of
Hey, he's done some things that weren't
no.
all, you know, that were hit and miss. You know what I mean?
I think the album was flames on the low. And I think what he did with not like that, but I think to where he went left, and even with what was it, the last train to Paris shit with the
Dirty
girls.
money.
Dirty Money, thank you. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't want to say Danny Kane. I knew that wasn't him. Dirty Money.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. He got in a bag where the lane was crazy. Where I was like, bro,
It was,
doing some shit right now.
and you know what? As an open-minded person, I did like that.
Yeah, like
But I
that's where I
I
feel
could
you.
see I could see that it wasn't like a like a lane that was being well received.
Yeah,
You feel me?
that's what yeah, that part of it. Yep.
Like so. The only reason I mentioned uh, Press Play and The Last Train to Paris is because those weren't commercial successes like that.
Yeah, no, they were not.
Even though I personally liked them, I just didn't. I feel like they could be considered a smudge on his track record.
I'm with you.
Um, by somebody who's basing it on, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
hits or whatever. But for me, it's a person like Diddy, not only the stuff that he made, but the stuff that he produced, and also the stuff that he did, you know, with the Hitman, whatever. I know people hate on Diddy because he's not a Beats Machine producer. He's not like a, you know, making it himself kind of guy, but he's an
orchestrator.
He's an orchestrator. He's a Berry Gordy.
Thank you, a composer. That's what I meant.
Yeah. And
it works too.
Like even a person like Dr. Dre is the same thing.
Yeah.
People like Battle Cat came up under Dr. Dre. Even Daz Dillinger came up under Dr. Dre, and they had camps of beat makers that were their best work could go and get signed by Dr. Dre and be released as a Dr. Dre song.
Yeah, definitely.
But Dre wasn't making every single beat. He was taking credit.
Yeah.
He was taking credit, but I mean, people ain't gonna respect Diddy like that. Point is, you know, that we made so much dope ass gangster rap. We made so many dope hits that are, you know, on the message tip, not appropriate, but
yeah, terrible.
But you know, there's a lot of bangers, and I will say, the Lox didn't get their respect because, and people were going in to the thing like, oh, Dipset's gonna win this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew that they weren't, but
yeah. And no disrespect, I'm not a Dips guy, so yeah, I was already like, let's go LOX. Like
I mean,
but I knew it was gonna be a battle, or thought it was gonna be a battle.
You know what? I thought that because okay, so this is a whole conversation in itself.
Yeah, I turned it left. Go ahead. I turned it left. Go ahead.
I'm more of a kind of hip hop nerd, like you know what I mean.
Student.
I had enough insight to know that the Dipset wouldn't be able to win, but it's not based. It wasn't really based on just preference. Like, oh, I think this group's gonna be better because I like their songs more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It was a combination of things, right? So you got the Lox who've been performing together and are friends still and all of that, and they have a chemistry
bond, yeah.
And then you have Dipset who broke up and they're not friends anymore. So you're not gonna have the same kind of chemistry on stage. You know what I mean? And these dudes haven't seen each other in a while.
Yep.
You got Juelz, you know, kind of on some like crackhead type vibes. You know what I mean? And the rest of them was, you know, kind of washed up. And I knew Cam was the only real star in the group. But I also know that Cam is too cool for school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cam is going to act like he doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah.
And you can't win over the crowd like that.
Yeah. No.
Um,
That's not a show.
so I'm like, you got this group that was over respected, Dipset. They were overhyped, over respected. They got more credit than they deserve. Like, because New York didn't have a wave at the time.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, they got treated like, and G Unit was kind of like that too. But
Yeah.
G Unit, Dipset, Wu Tang, they all got thrown in there together when like people like Wu Tang were 10 shoulders above these other dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
the other two were very like cult followings.
Yeah, even the Boot Camp Clique. The Boot Camp Clique had a cult following like that.
That's a good one.
But like,
I'm not gonna be a dick and throw Camp Lo in there, but I'm gonna be a dick and throw Camp Lo in there.
Camp Lo didn't have a wave though. Like
that.
Okay, let's keep it real. Camp Lo got bit up. People bit a lot of Camp Lo's style, flow, cadence.
They just didn't wave, and yeah, it got ripped.
They just didn't copy the 70s vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
But people like Jay-Z, there wouldn't even be no Dead Presidents if it wasn't for Cooley High or whatever. Like, let me stop lying, because Dead Presidents I think came out first.
Okay, it might, yeah. No,
Cooley High Harmony I think came out the next year.
Yeah.
But all that, matter of fact, even the nickname Jigga would not exist without Camp Lo calling themselves Jiggy and Jigga.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there was like a synonym for being fly.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And they made that up.
Yeah.
Camp Lo was making up shit left and right. And matter of fact, people like Camp Lo, they get over creative, and then people say, all right, I'm taking this, that. People like E40, they do that all the time.
Yep.
People would take E40 swag, but they'll take just enough of it where it's not obvious. But the Camp Lo influenced Rockefeller Records early days heavy.
But I think you said that very well as far as the E40 comparison.
Yeah.
They just didn't make the same push. And I think they were also, they couldn't make that same push E40 did because they were in a market that was way more, I won't say convoluted, but just had way more artists converging or merging. You know what I mean? There's so many waves going on to where E40's on the West Coast, bro. He can really push that and be unique out here and be like, oh yeah, that's E40. Oh, and that, you know what I mean? It was so many.
Yeah.
I'll just say the Bay is what it is. I won't say it's sparse because we have our artists, but it's so spread out to where it's like, bro, you can be that guy. You can be that.
Well, you know, I mean, and it's a tough game when you don't have the focal eye on you. Like the Bay Area is one of those places. You could name 10, 20 Bay Area rappers, but none of them made any impact like the E40 did. The only one else was Too Short. You know what I mean? And they had their, play verses or whatever, but it's like, all the 3 times is all the Ager Mans and Yuck Mouths and all the, Sally Sales and all the Conscious Daughters and all the damn Mac Malls and San Quins and the Brother Lynch Hungs, the Spice Ones, you know what I mean? The Paris.
Yeah.
And Paris basically gave Ice Cube his swag, but especially his militant swag. But all of those people didn't make no real national noise, and the Bay didn't get put on the way like Compton did. Like the way if you say you're from Compton, all of a sudden Compton is somewhere now.
We didn't have the market LA did. Yeah.
And Compton is somewhere. Compton is a damn suburb of LA. Compton wouldn't be nothing without Eazy-E. You know what I mean? And you gotta have like, you'd be from some random ass place. You'd be from, Daly City or Hayward or something like that. You know what I mean? And if you put on hard enough, people will start to be proud to be from Hayward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's where such and so is from. You know what I mean?
Yep. Your block music starts to fill nationwide, even though it might really just be hopefully statewide, where like you say, mad local just throughout the Bay as far as everybody here knows, and that's how we start buzzing.
The only city that has any national like buzz at all is Oakland.
Yep.
And that's one of the only places that people even know outside of California. If you say, "Oh, I'm from, you know,
Mhm.
Danville," if I'm from, wherever, they're not gonna know where the hell that is. You have to say I'm from Oakland
Pretty
for them to
much.
know, oh, okay, I know where that is.
Yep.
And
Fact.
guess where E40's from? Vallejo.
Yep.
That he put on so heavy
Mhm.
that we can't even give him like an easy pass because he was out here and he could be original.
Yeah.
He did the whole shit upstairs. It was
Right.
it
You're
was
right.
an uphill climb. Like he had to put on for a city that people didn't know about.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Him and Mac Dre.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um,
What I mean, you're in a space where
with a style that people couldn't even get with. Some people telling nigga he couldn't rap.
thank you. Yeah. Or it was weird, or yeah, just too fast. No, but that's what I'm saying. You're in a space though where it's not so, I don't want to say watered down. We're getting flooded with artists where you can make that push out. That's what I'm saying. Like you can make
True
that,
that. True that.
whereas,
It's
oh, oof, go ahead.
it's definitely easier to stand out.
Yeah, thank you. I think maybe that's a better way to put it. Not to just say he had it easy, because you're totally right. Not at all that, but I
Yeah.
think you can make that push. Whereas you got Camp Low to where, like you said, you probably easily bid up, or if anything, shit on to where you're like, okay, right around the corner is that. Okay, about young 50 Cent. Oh, Capone and Nori.
Yeah.
You know what I
And,
mean? What I'm saying
and
it's just so flooded out there. You're like, ooh.
and that's the same exact reason why the Locks weren't getting their respect on the way into the verses. People were like, the Locks,
Yeah.
whatever,
Or
because
maybe, yeah.
the Locks were dropping classics at a time when everyone was.
Mm-hmm.
The Locks were dropping songs with Big.
Competitive. And I think that's
Yeah.
what motherfuckers forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were dropping songs with people who were much bigger stars than they were. You
Thank
feel
you.
me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you dropping songs with Biggie and them, and then you get your own album that kind of gets lost in the shuffle
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much classic stuff coming out in the late '90s,
Yeah.
and then early 2000s coming. Now you're on the Rough Riders, which is a good record label to make classics on.
Yeah.
But you're being overshadowed by DMX,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And they like Jadakiss was able to make enough noise on his own.
Yeah.
And even Knock Yourself Out and all of those songs are, you know what I mean, club classics, you know what I mean? Kind of just like Mr. Cheeks had lights, camera, action.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was also Barzy.
Yeah.
Then you got Styles P, who went the whole Currency direction, where he was like basically on the jets. Like the dude was dropping mixtapes and like low key, subtle songs, and he got on his knives and got a little reflective. You know what I mean with his rap, with his bars. Styles P I became a big fan of Styles P.
Yeah.
The whole Ghost P series type, the Ghost. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And he was. Yeah. It was way different than the Lock stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Sheik always had the energy, and he's got the most. He's got like people thought Sheik was barzing on everybody out on All About the Benjamins, but it was just because he had that much hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you got this group who has way better songs and better bars and better lyrics, and Styles P and Jadakiss as a duo is like better than Camp Low. They back and forth with it. It's crazy.
Nasty, masterful. Like it's
masterful. And the only real songs we got was "We Gonna Make It" and "One More Step."
Yeah.
But those is like that back and forth wordplay is like I don't think anybody else has done that except for Camp Low. And the only other people who you ever heard do it was Biggie by himself. He was rapping to himself.
Or like you said, I don't think anybody's done it to, like you said, that magnitude to where you're like, oh, I think cats have done it to where you're just like, okay, they're going back and forth with it. You know what I mean? And you just like Red and Meth have done it, but you're like, okay, that's just a track where they just go back and forth. You know what I mean?
They do it well, but it's like, Jada and P, they finish each other's lines.
Exactly, masterful.
Which is it's a different type of back and
forth. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I love the way that shit is crazy.
That's crazy. Like, and not only are they different together, but they're different when they're separate.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It was like, and then you have this Dipset group who they got this like kind of Crown of New York like title because there was nobody else there to really fill the spot.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of subpar rappers. Cameron used to be able to rap, and then he dumbed it down.
Yeah.
And you know, then they quote unquote took over The Rock and basically made Rockefeller. They ruined it and made it a defunct label. But Just Blaze and those like triumphant, over the top beats that they had made it really feel epic.
Yeah.
And it really felt like this is history. This is powerful music, man. Yeah. Dipset. And it was just like, damn, the swag was crazy. Yeah. They were swag rappers.
Yeah.
But all those copy, poppy, Nazi type of bars, they're not gonna stand up over time. And them dudes were not lyricists.
Thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you. You called it out.
It was obvious that their music wasn't gonna stand up over time. And they don't have chemistry together.
Dysfunction, yeah.
It was like, okay, you got dissension in the group and you got these songs that are not aging well.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And the only people, the reason why Dipset and G Unit and a couple other groups, especially Rough Riders, were had such a cult following is because they made you feel like you were a member.
Yeah, I agree.
It was like Dipset, all my dips out there represent, and they, even with the Dipset anthem, it was just like Dipset, and they made you feel like, this is Dipset, and we in here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was a whole lot of other groups or cliques in rap, you know what I mean, that made you feel like, we the shit and y'all aren't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you run up on my clique, X, Y, and Z will happen. You know what I mean? Like a lot of threats, a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of bragging. No, you're totally right. Yeah.
The pinnacle of that was Death Row.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't feel like you was a part of Death Row Records. You didn't feel like you was a member. You felt like, whoa, these dudes they're doing the most. And it's crazy to watch, but oh man, you know what I mean? Like, like I'm on the sidelines watching this East-West battle happen.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, nigga, this Death Row.
Yeah, well, I felt like, to your point though, I felt like to your point, to prove how number one at that they were, how the magnitude of it, what it was when they did, it became, like you said, you're not necessarily with Death Row, but you with the West Coast. So
and when the net got bigger when it was West.
That's how
West, and then the West Side Connection made the net bigger because it was just like they were like cheerleaders. They weren't even in the East-West battle, but they was just super westing it up.
Yeah, they just benefited off of that machine, that merger right there. I can't front. It's sad to even think about that when you look back, like you said, given how shit with you, like really like, wow, you really just reaped off of. Yeah, West Side, West Side versus East Side. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm not saying none of them Garzy, not that, but just that West Side Connection machine, which loved it, but yeah.
And because in the 90s, I was such a boom bap backpack, East Coast centered kind of, I used to love her kind of rap fan.
Yeah. I
was mad at Ice Cube. Like I was a fan of Ice Cube during Today Was a Good Day.
Yeah.
And he was basically biting off Dre and them with the West Coast G-Funk stuff because he wasn't militant no more.
Yeah. Yep.
He was lifestyle rap. He was hitting the low and getting drunk with the homies, and you know what I mean. Like, I liked that version of Ice Cube though. And when West Side Connection Ice Cube to me was like, wow, you're biting so hard. He even bit the actual Tupac Hennessy enemies kind of flow.
Yeah.
This fool said, I'm gonna have 25 people running up on y'all for the cheese.
Yeah.
For the cheese, but make it please. Like that was very Tupac. And so I felt like he wasn't being like a prime lyricist anymore, and he wasn't being himself.
Yeah, I can see
that. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
And I mean, militant Ice Cube, Death Certificate Ice Cube, Predator Ice Cube, he was basically Chuck D of the West Coast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would you know America's Most Wanted was like Today's a Good Day, right? Am I wrong, or is that's right before?
I can't remember what album it was.
America's Most Wanted was still had the curl in before the still bars. I want to say that's Jacking for Beats. I could be wrong, but I want to say
And I really like Jacking for Beats. I remember I was a kid when Jacking for Beats came out, and I was like, whoa, can you do that?
Yeah.
Can you take other people's beats?
And that was like the dopest thing ever. And I think that's why we loved it when cats like The Game or so on kind of not brought it back, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'll say pay homage to that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this shit is crazy. So we came from a time where you're like, yo, cats weren't even naming their songs the same names in most cases. You know what I mean?
You
know what I mean? Can you even do that? You're like, oh shit, I don't know. So like there was a lot of rules and format back then. So to hear that, you're like, oh, yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I was not a fan of the West Side Connection. Per se, because I mean, I did like Who Bangin'. Who Bangin' was a banger by itself.
Yeah, love
it.
C2.
And I think Dub C and the Mad Circle had like a kind of almost, it was gangster, but it was almost like Far Side influenced.
Thank you. Shout that out real quick. So let's even just call it out. So I think too, let's also just point out the elephant. I think we're pretty much unspokenly saying that oddly enough, I won't say they succumbed to the merger, but damn near kind of became part of the merger with West Side Connection. Because like we're saying, really, if not Mac 10, Dub C and Ice Cube were two different MCs like we're saying 93.
Oh yeah.
Dub C, like I said, that was more so I can't remember who it was with. Maybe you can, like I said, Mad Circle, but I'm trying to think of somebody like, say, the Locks when they were with the Bomb Squad. Was it like the Beat Miners? I don't know who it was Dub C was with, but it was some hip hop shit. Barring. It's like, oh shit, it wasn't just gangsta, kind of like Ice Cube was before. You're like, oh shit. And I want to shout out my partner DJ Havoc with the fucking of course I'm fucking forgetting. Anyway, we'll keep it moving. But this nigga put me on like, yo, check this shit out. But he's a real LA DJ head where he's like, you ain't heard Dub C unless you heard this shit. I was like, oh. Okay.
Yeah. And I remember Dub C and the Mad Circle being because I was the West Coast hip hop that I was the biggest fan of was like the Far Side and Hieroglyphics, and you know what I mean?
That hit harder than Hyro. Then we got Hyro, and you're like, oh, but the Far Side had a different culty feel where it was nice.
And it was and not only them, but you know, even the one hit wonders, Kilo. I wish I was a little bit taller. Those kind of rappers, and not to diss Far Side because they were way better than him. But that upbeat, like not take yourself too seriously, kind of.
Still,
you know, it wasn't even positive per se. It just wasn't negative.
It was just real.
You know what I mean?
It's just real. Yeah.
And the only other groups that you can compare the Far Side to are groups that are not from California, like Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
De La Soul. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I just love that whole like acid jazz trip hop rap from LA. And you could tell who grew up on it. People like Ab-Soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All day.
And Kendrick.
I was gonna say, that's where you gotta love when Kendrick shouts out those roots of Freestyle Fellowship, shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Freestyle Fellowship was dope.
Yeah.
And
long abstract root.
If there's any wish, if I had the Infinity Stones, I could snap and keep that the biggest lane that we had.
Yes.
Like that De La lane, that Tribe lane, that you know what I mean, that Dilla lane. And Dilla produced for all of those groups, right?
Yeah. Shout out Native Tongues too. I wish that would have did more.
Yeah. And
shout out the Alcoholics, love the licks.
Yeah, the licks. I mean, like even like all of that stuff was like, it was fun. It was party.
It was hip hop.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And not to separate, but before shit, like you said, started becoming genre and image and agenda pushed. Okay, this is gangster right now. Motherfuckers still had the freedom to be and to be groups with themes. Again, the Alcoholics, the
Yeah,
Fat Boys. You know what I mean? We're like
yeah.
artistry.
And even you could tell how chill the rap was based on the imitators. So when the Latinos jumped on with Lighter Shade of Brown, they were kicking it in the park on a Sunday afternoon. They was chilling. They was, you know what I mean? They like it was like so
It's Sunday.
That lets me know that the image that they got from hip hop, that they said, I like that, I'm gonna try to recreate that, was positive. Well, was chill. Was, you know what I mean? Was laid back.
Yeah.
Rather than
shit, yeah.
I mean, but you know, we also have Cypress Hill, right?
Pause. Yeah.
And you know, they're damn near MOP status, you know, just so much aggression.
That's funny, yeah.
But it's I mean, it's I kind of feel like some of those groups like MOP and Cypress Hill and Ghetto Boys and even all the way to Insane Clown Posse or whatever, you kind of realize that that's just entertainment. You could tell that it's not, you know what I mean? You could tell that it's not the real person talking. You could tell that it's like the song that even How I Could Just Kill a Man is, it doesn't feel like they're really talking. It feels like a video game or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it feels fictional.
Yeah. And then it feels like very what would you say, like we're saying with the lifestyle shit, very situational. You know what I mean? And even jumping back to where we were talking about with R&B, as it was something more in depth about like, here's something here's something you can't understand, how I could just kill a man, and explaining, you know what I mean, the frustration or what it is and why, you know what I mean? But more so like saying with the R&B, that shit beyond romance and shit, you know what I mean? Fathers, too many of you, you know what I mean? Why are you crying, mother? You know, all the shit. The point is, there was something going on there. You know what I mean? Something being painted there, something being exposed to you. We're like, oh shit, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it just was always deeper than that, to where I think we're like, oh, okay, this is the allure, this is the draw.
Yeah. And I think you just explained something that went over the public's head with gangster rap, is that maybe half of it had themes that were still redeemable, right?
Yeah, thank you. And I think
that's like I'm trying to explain the frustration or the situation that I would be in where I could kill a man. Or Ghetto Boys, My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. They're talking about mental illness, and they're not talking about it in some kind of glorious light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Still real. And I think, to your point, the redeemable qualities, I think, is what you're getting at too. A lot of times you're able to sift through like, okay, there's, not to say there's no redeemable qualities, but like I said, the shit that's real and maybe not real. And you're like, okay, this shit is just entertainment. Like, you're just rapping. You know what I mean? Like, you just, not bust a bus, but this is serious. You can have fear. You know what I mean? Like, you just busting. We're just having a party time. You just the vibe. You know what I mean? We're just enjoying it.
And peep this though. I think that what you just said and what we just hit on went over everybody's head. It went from
the knowledge.
It went from like this like remorseful, situational violence, to like celebratory Crip walk on your head violence. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like, stop apologizing, more gunplay.
Yeah, and I think one of the people who helped usher in an unapologetic violence is Lil Jon.
Oh yeah.
Like, without Lil Jon, you don't get the same kind of like before that. And I know Lil Jon was in the early 2000s, but
yeah, no, you're right though. Lil Jon, the BME was at their clique, the BME, whatever.
Yeah. Before Lil Jon,
all of that era,
yeah. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but before Lil Jon, the tone of a rapper was like, yeah, I'm chilling on a Friday night or whatever, but if you want to get at me, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You know what I mean? What did Big say? What did Big say? She don't know I'm cool as a fan, get in hand. I don't want to blast a man, but I can't, and I will though.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
He doesn't. That's the last resort.
You said it.
It's the last resort.
Push me. That's funny.
it felt like even the biggest gangsters were like, I'm trying to enjoy my life, and if you don't like it, watch your back, because I'll kill you.
Yeah.
I'm deadly if you run up on me. If you run up on me, hey, it's all bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
forgot some. I forgot what rapper said bulletproof tent so I could shoot out, but you can't shoot in, or whatever it was. I was like, okay, I get it. You're talking about in a war.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your favorite rapper in the late 90s was a gangster,
Mm-hmm.
but your favorite rapper in the late 90s was like a Marvel character, right? Like a Thanos. Like, don't make me do this, because you know my clique don't play, right?
Yeah. Word.
That seemed like the overall tone of the threats and the violence. It was we are ready for war
Yeah.
if it comes to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
After Lil Jon came out, it was like the tone of the average rapper was more like, I'm killing people for fun.
Bodying niggas. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm like it, and it doesn't have to be for any deep reasons or anything like that. If you don't like me, you're not just a hater.
Yeah.
You're an op now.
Yeah. Word.
And the ops, we always shooting at the ops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's I'm Millie Rock, and I be on block, and I shoot at up, running from the cop. Yeah, it's like we're not. He's Millie rocking.
Yeah.
He's dancing and enjoying himself while shooting people.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as I'm minding my business.
Yeah.
And if a war breaks out, I'm ready.
Yeah. Pause.
That's not the same thing. And I know Lil Jon brought in a lot of different sonic qualities or whatever to the game. And he did a lot of chanting that wasn't per se rapping.
Yeah.
But he also brought that unapologetic violence into the game.
No,
and like I said, I don't know if I'm spot on with that, but it feels like it from my.
Yeah, no, I think you are too. I just think for me, I think if we had to take it there too, though, I just think for me, you'd be skipping a heartstring, which again, I think it's right at the end of the day. If you're forced in a situation of circumstances, not to hate on your circumstance, if you are in an environment, the only food you are given is fast food. You got to eat the food you're given. You may not like the food, but that's what you got. So you're gonna do what you got until you think of something else to do or figure out another way to provide for yourself. So I say that to say a lot of the music, like we're saying, we get may not have certain redeemable qualities or certain qualities we have to redeem in a certain way. Like, okay, well, that's what it is. Like you say, as far as like the nigga had to put him up, get him up, put his hands up. All right, well, nigga knucking if we bucket in or shit. We some head busters right now then. Like, fuck it, this is what we got. Or like I said, these are the images we're being sold. So I jumped back though, the one that always struck my bell, because I'm saying that to say I love it. I love the movement, but I'd be lying if I didn't say at an earlier time when it first hit, I had to parse some things out or I struggled with it. The hyphy movement. And we've talked about this because on that point, I think if not Violence West, which I think was their predecessor, because you saw that country cousin connection between the Bay and the South really blow up, especially once E40 connected with Atlanta and Little John and them, right? But it was the natural fit. It was right from the bounce, the sound. It's the same thing. But my point was, prior to them, and just like you said, the all out, like, yeah, we getting buck out here. This is what it is. Can you dig my nig? If anything, I feel like we left the door open for the futures of the world. With gratuitous drug use, we out here. Then I feel like what was the next probable step, right? We know how a late night can go. Oh, well, nigga, we out here. And then shit started going bad. And you're like, oh shit, like this is a whole different breed. Let alone now then the interesting is, right, you merge so many pieces of California culture, which is why it's so hard, right? Where you got to redeem so much beautiful things that we create. We're meshed into a lot of dark spaces as far as now you got also California car culture.
Yeah.
This is also talking about whips and spinning cars. But again, a lot of these people are still talking about being on drugs while they're either in these cars or at these side shows, possibly either getting murked or hit by a car. Shit is it's a bad setup. You know
It's
what
a bad setup because it's like a sideshow is a powder keg, right? You got
Thank
people
you.
there who
That's
are
the
armed.
phrase I'm
You
looking
got a lot of people there who are armed.
for, right? Because this is block shit, which is right. This is where
And
we're from, but this is where it's at. Because
yeah,
it's an authentic situation in the block.
but now you're trying to do something dangerous and not offend or hit or mess up anything around these armed people.
Yeah.
And you're gonna clip somebody's car, you're gonna hit somebody's foot or something like that. You're gonna somebody's gonna be trying to stand too close to the because for some reason the cool thing to do is to stand real close to the car.
Video and yeah.
And when you get hit by the car, now it's like not your fault that you were too close. It's his fault because he don't got bars.
Yeah.
And now it's a shootout. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
like, I'm the thing that rubbed off on me for Bay car culture was having bars, having handles, being able to whip in and out of traffic.
Yeah.
Driving kind of aggressively or maybe a little too fast.
Yeah.
But I was probably in high school last time I did some donuts. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like I know that that's gonna mess your car up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. At one exactly. Thing,
But like,
yeah.
I mean, you're right. Like the crunk movement and the hyphy movement
It was
blew
a
up
perfect
back to
match.
back.
It was a perfect match because out there you got car culture, you got our cousins out there got guns too. You know what I mean?
But the crunk movement actually took all of the wind out of Houston's sails.
Oh, heck.
Mike Jones, Big Paul Wall, and Slim Thug were on fire at the time, and the crunk movement took their juice because they would have had a longer run. You know what I mean? Without
watched Houston, the whole Swisher House, all the big area, and they was going in at that moment. Who didn't?
Yeah.
You even loved Paul Wall, motherfucker. You loved everything popping.
Yeah. Like and you got a movement going when you can get a white dude popping.
Thank you. And hard, like hard.
Yeah.
The boy on the keyboard said, Little John came and crushed these niggas.
Yeah, and the crunk music was a little bit of it was a lot of represent your clique, and you know what I mean? Even the head busters dance. You just doing this. You know what I mean? The crunk music was over the top, aggressive, and violent, right? Mm-hmm. But the crunk movement did not include a heavy drug culture.
Mm-hmm. They did not at the time. It really.
You were just. I mean, I think they was rolling on pills or
E or whatever. Like
but
it was assumed or kind of like
they didn't really say
you're on that shit.
Yeah,
so.
And
I feel like drink was more their thing.
Yeah, and I feel like
hemp cups and all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I think Hypnotic was kind of smashing around that time. You remember?
Yeah, it was on the Hypnotic in hand, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Incredible Hulk shit and all of that.
Yeah,
so drink was kind of getting popular.
And one song that bridged the gap between crunk and snap.
Thank you, Snap.
Was Swag Surfing.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And it was like right in the middle of both. It was kind of a crunk song, but it was almost a snap dance song. And them little dudes was on the song saying, "I'm on Hypnotic, I'm on Exotic, Hypnotic, this polo on my body," right? So
they're
talking about smoking weed and drinking some Hypnotic.
Yeah.
They're not talking about double cups of lean and falling asleep in the club. They're not talking about doing hella pills and ecstasy fizz.
It was a progression. Yeah, it was a progression, really. Almost a step back to
So I feel like that song is good enough evidence that the crunk movement and definitely the snap dance movement, because it was all about dancing.
Yeah.
They didn't encourage drugs like that. It was like the hyphy movement was really, I wasn't even a fan. I'm from the Bay Area, and I liked Mac Dre, and I liked his silly songs and how silly he was because he felt like Humpty to me. But I didn't like all the stuff he was talking about.
If you got a full Humpty album of just bar work, yeah.
Yeah, I liked
Hella
I
fun.
liked. Let's be real. I mean, and I liked hardcore, 3 Times Crazy,
Yeah.
Spice One kind of rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I liked E40 and the whole clique. I liked Be Legit and you know all the rest of them.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. But see, and that's where I think though, like you said, that's the difference. And I think that's where like we was calling out, like, and again, not to hate on nobody, but just as far as marquee smashes, like sometimes you can separate certain things, especially when we're at a time in hip hop where you could really separate your interests, kind of, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh, talking about this, I'm kind of cool. Like you got your own vibe. Like you said, some cat might yell and this is that, but
yeah, like a mystical.
Thank you. Right? Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Here, I felt like you said though, it's easy to resonate with the okay, 40 in the click. Yeah, that's that shit. Like, let me get that, or the Too Short shit.
My thing is this: they took because the Bay culture, if you really think about it, the hyphy movement didn't really represent all of the other artists I just named.
Exactly.
Am I right? Like 3 Times,
and that shit was after. Yeah, it was a more
the Loonies.
The Loonies, I feel like, were the only one that kind of got a little taste of it.
And their song was about weed.
Thank you. Yeah.
But the Loonies, the Who Riders, the Conscious Daughters, Drew Down, all of these people, they weren't fizzing.
And if you think about it, the Loonies, I Got 5 on it, really only got grandfathered in because it was a weed song. Let's keep it trill.
Yeah, yeah. Because it was a weed song.
That was already out.
And so, but let's think about it. They weren't all, it wasn't all Thiz and Molly and popping pills. That wasn't even the authentic Bay culture.
Yeah.
They took the worst attributes of Mac Dre.
Basically.
And made that Thiz Nation.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And Mr. Fab and all of them, they took the worst because Mac Dre was a drug addict. Mm-hmm. And people like the Jacka and all those other people were not. Yeah. Right? Most Bay Area artists die from gun violence. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mac Dre, I'm pretty sure overdosed, right?
No, I think it was gun violence in Kansas. Remember? I think he was killed in.
Oh, yeah, he did get shot in that van.
Yeah, something like that.
But Mac Dre was a drug addict, and because he was so silly and he
was the character. Yeah,
he was a character. He was like a Humpty kind of character. Like, I don't care about anything, and so he would admit to and make songs about thizzing and all of that stuff, and that became a whole. That became a big part of the hyphy movement. And to me, I was just like, I can't get behind this because it's basically drug addict music now. It's not something I can relate to at all.
And like, to your point, like you said though, that's not. And I feel like just from the perspective of like, that's not the Bay Area. Like, that's not the hyphy movie. You know what I mean? Like,
and
go ahead.
And the recklessness, like the Ghost Ride the Whip song and all of that stuff, it's just like, I know, like the music didn't age well. It felt like the flavor of the day.
Yeah, it was defying the law of physics. Like,
I'm gonna keep it real. The crunk songs and some of the Snap songs, even like Lean With It, Rock With It, are classic Snap.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I feel like the hyphy movement doesn't have any classics except for maybe Blow the Whistle, and that's really a Lil Jon song.
No, and that's funny you say that. No, it's all kind of like, because then otherwise it's Tell Me When to Go. That's the marquee. If you ask me,
Tell Me When to Go might be a classic.
And even that's about it. That's not you know what I mean? I think it's in that era, but I don't know that I won't not call it a hyphy song because it's the marquee song of the hyphy movement. But like you said, if we're talking about Keek the Sneak and all of that, I just think it was more. I didn't think it's two cats that got a little bit, because even with Keek the Sneak, I feel like I would lump him, say, in the back. If you're talking about top marquee artists from the Bay, like we said, like you got E40 or Too Short, I'd give Keek number 3 or 4 as far as being unique, original, as far as, I feel like he came out before hyphy, right? Same shit. There's like, he was already established where he could be a grandfather in the Bay scene and jump in. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like already you got 2 Bay Area hip hop niggas that already know what Bay Area hip hop is. So I just feel like it happened to fall under hyphy. So, let's kind of you know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like still that would be the song where like say blow the.
They definitely did. They definitely did a hyphy song. It was a hyphy song, and I think it deserves that label. But my
super
my thing is, and super hyphy is a slapper, but not a classic.
But and that's wrong with you. It's all block. It breaks down back to block stuff.
But like, let's think about it. You shouldn't have a whole movement of music and not have any classics come out of that movement. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it was all disposable.
Yeah. When it got, but I think to your point, once it got, as we're saying, once it got pigeon-toed into either just the drug and this scene, it stopped being like the, oh, hey, look at all these artists we got. It's just this. And okay, now it's the movement. Well, that's like a fad. It's passing. Like, cool, you just doing that drug shit? Okay, cool. Now we're onto the snap shit. We're like, ooh, we kind of put ourselves in a box. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should have been more about more than just this, right? And not hating, but like you said, in longevity, like you didn't really leave yourself much wiggle room, I guess to say. You know what I'm saying?
And I will say, and I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like people like Future are going to have a similar legacy. Like we're going to get over the music really quickly because it's not a song about how you feel inside. It's a song about doing drugs.
Yeah, basically. And let's jump back to your point, talking about age. Well, when you're talking about the audience that was soaking your shit up, when they reach our age and they're like, damn, ooh, what the fuck he's talking about, or that's all he talking about, like because I feel you to what we were saying. This came up when we were talking about verses. I'm not gonna hate. I loved everything. The shit was so hip hop. As an MC, I had tingles watching the Locks take it where they took it. Because too, I feel like really let's call it what we call it, the dysfunction and so on. The Dips really disrespected the legacy of hip hop in New York. The Locks playing by the rules, and they called it out. And every time, one with the bars, you showed up when Jada said, "Computers Putin." You knew he called it. He called it in like, y'all playing games right now. Don't bring these bullshit bars.
Yeah, like
rapping over vocals. Stop. Like that's pure disrespect in New York. Rest in peace to the guy. That's pure disrespect to DMX. You don't play that game with God MCs. You're in the area like, come on, B. Like, get your shit together.
And it's about QC, right? Quality control. You have to call out something that's disrespectful to the art form.
Thank you. So pause real quick. So at first it was almost kind of rough where I'm like, damn, I had to admit, like, yeah, dope, cool Locks, but what do you say? Everybody in your fuck you. Like, oh shit, okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the most godliest person. I'm not the first nigga at service, mass, or the mosque, but some of this was kind of rough to stomach. I won't lie. I'm a parent now. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it sits differently with me. Or a lot of us, fuck it. Art, you get in the zone. Yeah, I'm splashing red paint because fuck you, right? That's the zone I'm in or shit. Some of us was athletes. We about to do something aggressive. I'm a parent now. The shit fits a little differently. To where, like, say, certain shit doesn't age as well, or you're just like, okay, but the gods are gods, and moving on. But you just I kind of had to sit with that, like you said, like, the shit didn't age very well, or you know what I mean? Like I said, it looks good that our brothers did. You know what I mean? Styles piece on you niggas is vegan now. You can't go back and unwrite or rewrite the songs. You know what I'm saying? But I'd love to see that you've grown enough to where like, okay, you clearly quote unquote know better. And two, like we talk about with Styles, I think he transcended as an MC because he was showing us that growth. After he went through what he went through, his prison bids and so on, he was telling little niggas like, I'm that nigga. And that too is where he's spending. We love the Dips, but too, like you said, like you niggas took the slot. I can't remember who we was talking about, but you took the slot at a time when nobody else was taking it, bro. Like, no hate on y'all. You guys were fun, you know what I mean? But that's where you felt the real when you were like, let this nigga Styles P spit this verse a cappella on you niggas. Like, stop playing with the bars, nigga. I don't remember the verse he did, but I was like, yeah, you know the real when you hear it. You know what I mean? The rest is entertainment and shit. But ultimately, sorry, I'm bouncing around. But yeah, I had to just jump on that.
And you know what? I'm gonna stop sounding like an old man.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say one more. I'm gonna say one more old man thing. And
then we're gonna wrap on motherfuckers. R&B is dead. Keep going, Sheet.
What you just sparked for me in terms of like how well the lyrics age over time, and especially once the artist grows up and kind of matures past the point they were at the time that they were making that music. I feel like Black people with R&B and soul music and rock and roll and blues and country and every other genre that we created.
Thank you.
We're able to create beautiful, timeless music even at 20 years old.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, most of our
even younger than that. You remember the Jackson 5?
True that.
He was younger than, you know what I mean? Like, shout them out. You know, they was doing work before they got major, but yeah, continue. I got you.
And especially because hip hop is so competitive and flavor of the week, and it feels a lot more like sports. You age out of hip hop so quickly, and there's other genres allow an artist to grow, and they allow an adult to have a perspective in the culture, right?
But a lot of times we pigeonhole,
yeah. So rap is young, rap is immature, and rap is really uninventive in terms of like you should have songs that your 50-year-old self will be proud of. Like a person like Nas can rap One Love word for word.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like that.
I did that. Yeah.
Everybody hold your head. One Love. Because the song is it's even on some hip hop street shit. He's talking to his friend who's in prison, and there's a little bit of violence and a little bit of misogyny and a little bit of this and that, but it was all fit so well that it was a classic song that you could be proud of later in life.
Say word, yeah.
And I'm old man me says, hey, young guys, while you have the platform, do like Kanye, do like, maybe even Drake. You know what I mean? I'll give it to Drake.
Shout out to Dreamville Boys, yeah.
Do like Nas, do like, you know what I mean? Like do like these people and try to make something that you can age into rather than,
thank you.
You know what I mean? Thea's Nation, Ghost Ride the Whip song, because you're not going to be with that.
Right. It's kind of like a bad tattoo, right?
And the song's going to follow you forever. It's your famous hit.
Yep.
And you got to sing that shit all the time.
That's the fuck you got to sing all the time. Yep. You ain't like old as fuck. That's what you're singing. Now, and that's real. That's what it comes down to, right? Like a bad tattoo. You're going to be old as fuck, having to look at that same shitty ass tattoo on your body. You're going to feel like a dickhead. Like,
imagine Smokey Robinson coming out at the BET Awards and saying, all right, y'all, how's it going? And sing a song like, Bitches ain't shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And two, just like you looking at this old nigga like, pause. And two, to your thing though, like we said, the one thing, the real is real, there's redeemable in this. A motherfucking good artist is a motherfucking good artist. Because too, and I think I was watching something where as a comedian, Joy, and long and short, there's two legends. And ultimately, they was kind of talking about dirty comedy, clean comedy. But at the end of the day, a good comedian, funny is funny, right? So again, we're not harping on nobody, right? And especially, I mean, like we harping on what we harping on used to.
You know what? I'm going to shut up, but dirty comedy doesn't age well. If you watch Delirious,
no, thank you.
If you watch Eddie Murphy Raw, it's not funny now.
But we also know exactly where you're like, ooh, yeah, that went stale, bro. Because up until that moment where the hush falls, you like, this is some good Nick shit. In that moment, we're like, yeah, that doesn't age well. And pause. That's why you love him though for recognizing that. And that's on us, though, as we're saying, right? Having to grow and realize, and he can state that, like, yeah, some of that shit didn't age well. And I don't remember what interview it was, but I was like, I respect that shit. But I'm just saying that to say, though, at the end of the day, we know, especially you as an artist, we know it's all on how you do things. Some shit don't age well, but at the end of the day, if a motherfucker's got enough bravado and is willing to show up to the show, fucking Cameron and Dipset, and put on, shit, you can pull off all these bitches and all these hoes. You can pull off Snoop Dogg's career. You can really pull off a whole set where you're like, ooh, yeah, he took it there, but that shit was some dope. That was some real ass shit. You know what I mean? Like either way, you'll feel that shit. But I think to your point, he also didn't just give us gratuitous ignorant shit. What Jay say? This is the ignorant shit you like. And don't get me wrong, he has it, but I'm saying it wasn't to the point where you were like, this shit now where you're like, this is just empty ignorance. Oh, okay.
The cold thing about it is the game is so messed up now that Snoop Dogg has classic songs that he can be proud of, that he's like Little Ghetto Boy.
Yeah.
The murder was the case. Just praying for your freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's only a few songs that are like ain't no fun. You know what I mean? Those type of songs are hard to listen to, but not only does Snoop make decent music, and he redid Lottie Dottie, which is a classic, and he redid Rakim.
Yeah. I don't remember which one it is. But Fish, which is no, I know exactly what you're talking
about. He was a real hip hop fan.
Thank you.
And then on top of that, he grew, because if you listen to songs like songs on like the Rhythm and Gangsta album and stuff like that, you got songs like Ups and Downs, Smiles and Frowns, and those type of songs.
Thank you. Flames.
That's basically a Frankie Beverly type of song.
Flames. But that's where we talking about and that's where we're gonna
now you're an artist.
Thank you. That's what we're talking about. Quality beyond just some bullshit. And again, he didn't go through the machine like these other motherfuckers went through the machine. You know what I mean? He went through at a different time to where, like I said, the growth was a different. Whereas now they'll let these motherfuckers, your trash will come out. That's a student of the game right there. As far as Snoop Dogg, like he got to grow and graduate. As far as these other cats, we had a different. We had a different scenario where good or bad, motherfuckers call it what they want. Hey, gatekeepers paid off in one way or another, right? In a certain degrees back then.
And even our worst gangsters had songs that were damn near classic because the bar was so high.
Thank you.
If Biggie was alive, he wouldn't be ashamed to sing the songs that he made.
Thank you. And that's what I think we're trying to get at is the bar. And we came out with a time the bar was high and there was so many cats you had to beat out to where we're saying, Jadakiss for the dips, the cats that are looking at it just don't get it, like you said. Beyond just, I like them or not, you got to look at the fact, the class that these guys came out, the time that they came out in the act. You had to have a show that could hang with Busta Rhymes. You had to have a song that can fucking compete with Notorious B.I.G. You got fucking two, you know what I'm saying? Like, B, this is no frills. We're not playing right now. And that's where, like I said, the Snoop Dogg, these are the students of those games. And two, mind you, these artists that we're talking about, Jadakiss, we're listening to other artists as far as musical, not rap. You know what I mean? Like you said, Marvin Gaye, Frankie Beverly, cats that know from Inside Out, Bootsy Collins, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
George Duke, to where you're like, this is where, like you said, the progression, you see the arc and you're like, oh yeah, this is what you come from. Like you see the roots in the motherfucker, whereas now you see these empty shells of just, what would Dave Chappelle say? Niggerdom. You know what I mean? Where you're like, okay. Just the ignorance where you're like, okay, cool. And then not to cap or get old, but like you say, you just
there's a sprinkle of good artists in there, but there should be.
Thank you. Yeah.
We know who we are as a people.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
So we've had classic era after classic era.
Thank you.
And I feel like we're not living in one right now.
Thank you. Right. But it's like you say, not to say that there aren't those artists, because it's folks bringing the light in a dark time. And that's why I say, even I think we're saying, that's why I'm like, fuck it. For the young boys, like shit, tap on the shoulder, look up to the big dogs. And I think that's what I've enjoyed really when you look at the legacy. I know my man's Drake got the artist of the decade or whatever, but I think it comes down to the legacy as far as, I'm not saying he ain't did nothing because I don't know what he's done like that, but just kind of what I've seen or paid attention to, because I know he's put cats on, but the moves that J. Cole is making, like the hands extended as far as like, yo, like let's roll, like let's move this way. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of shit. Like young boys, get off the fuck shit and pay attention to a cat that's giving something back. You know what I mean? Putting something into it. You know what I'm saying? Really
and is lyrically complex. J. Cole is lyrically complex.
And that's what I'm saying. Like really putting substance into his shit. Like a motherfucker that's really and barring cats. Like don't get it twisted. Like but giving you something. Like look at these motherfuckers. They're out here.
And J. Cole, sorry to say, he's not gonna ever get that A-list celebrity status, and it's because of his message and his style. He's basically Lupe Fiasco Part 2.
Yeah, and 2.0 for sure. And I like that he's finally. It seems like he shut out Cole. It seems like he's finally, not to say it that way, but like really settling in that. You know what I'm saying? To where he's like, fuck it, like this is where I'm at. To where I feel like, especially you and me being here, he's taking that like God MC currency road. Like fuck it, I'm gonna fall back in my God mode. Like fuck it, I'm on niggas. Like you're like, ugh.
And that is thanks to the power of the internet. There's so many rappers and models and producers and whoever, and even artists like me, making all of their waves on the internet. You don't have to put me on TV.
No,
you don't have to put me on TV.
Yep.
I'm gonna get my cult fan base anyway.
Shout out that boy. I think to your point, I think that one of the comedians was Country Wayne. I don't know him like that, follow him like that, but I respect what he had to say because what he said was on your level. Where he's like, I don't need to get my money in Hollywood, bro. I'm doing my shit the way I'm doing it. YouTube, the whole shit, whatever. YouTube cut the check. I said the name, but pause. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm online getting it. It's like you're saying, like I don't need you,
Yeah.
I don't need your machine.
Yeah. And the architect, the manual on how to do that, his name is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. I'm rich, bitch.
Anyway.
Let her know. On that note, this motherfucking R&B is motherfucking dead. Look us up. Stay tuned. We here.
We in the building.
All right. Peace and love, y'all. Again, the host with the most, Akeem Rahim, the Aerosol Dream. You know what I'm saying? And I am Emil the Real. Stay tuned, motherfuckers.
Peace.